So it's important that you kind of understand, not me just giving you the basic joke, but the mechanism of how I get there.
Yeah.
And the way I get there is by asking that general question, why is the scene funny in my own words? Not what's just funny from my character's perspective, or just what's funny about her. It's the scene. It's the basic joke of the scene. Why am I repeatedly laughing in the scene? And it's funny because you're supposed to be the one who's giving her guidance, yet you're saying that.
Yeah. How did I miss that?
I mean, it's okay, but it's and again, it's not like you're turning in a paper, but it is important to know, because your emotions and your objectives are going to stem from your basic jokes. That's why it's so important to know your basic joke, because it's the foundation of the scene. So, for example, if I know that the joke is not, because if you pick the spoiled brat as your joke, then you're missing a huge part of the joke, which is you seeing yourself as somebody who is a terrific dad, who knows stuff, and I know what I'm talking about. And the good thing about college is the football, and he wouldn't play that light; he would play it serious. That's why that joke would be funny. Now, there are times that you're straight and you're funny are going to bounce back and forth. You know, sometimes you're going to be the straight, sometimes you're going to be the funny in the scene. So, but we do, even when we have a straight and a funny in a scene, we have to figure out who's primarily the more quirky, the more funny of the two. So who would you say is the more, who has the funnier lines in general in the scene?
Me?
So what do you say? Give me some examples of something. You have that Khloe Kardashian scene, that line. What else?
So before that, there's the Albert Einstein never went to college. Like trying to use that as an argument, so it's not true. There's the,
is that? Do you know? For I don't know. Do we know this about Albert Einstein?
Something like he went for a while, but then he left. I don't really know.
I mean, I don't know. Do you know if Albert Einstein actually went to college? I don't even know.
I don't know. I've heard that he went, but then he dropped out.
Like he dropped out?
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so then when you say that line, that's a myth. No, well, not only am I'm being optimistic, I know stuff. Blind leading the blind.
Okay. So then is he the funnier?
Well, he has funny lines, but what we're trying to figure out now is who's the funnier of the two. Why do you think that's important to know?
If Albert Einstein went to...
Why is it important to know who is primarily the funnier of the two, even though it bounces back and forth? Why is that important to know?
So we know who's the
straight.
Yes.
The straight and the
Yes,
one?
there's that, but even when the funny person becomes the straight person for a little while, they're probably not going to be as crazy as your main funny person. That's why it's important to know.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so you have that line about, that's a myth. I know stuff. College, important thing about that is the football. And any other line? What are some of the other funny lines? So you have the line about the Khloe Kardashian line, which is funny.
I guess when she talks about college, that she thinks is like if they want us to go to their stupid schools, like why do we have to fill out the 20 pages?
Okay.
That part.
Also the recycling bin.
The recycling bin. She's like, well, almost one application that she has filled out.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She has more.
Okay. So the pies are primarily being thrown at you,
Yes.
and they're landing on your face.
Yes.
So what is it that you're having to deal with? Parenting. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with my daughter freaking out, having barely filled out one? What now? Where's the manual?
Right. Yeah, we see dealing with parenting.
I mean, I think there's a lot of humor. I mean, I'm not a parent. But I think there's a lot of humor to watching your daughter go from child to adult and having to deal with those kinds of things. I mean, we see this in movies all the time. I mean, the closest I can say is how funny it is to see my kitten go to be a cat. And the humor of that, not really. You understand though?
Yeah.
There's some humor to that, of you having to because, you know, it's not just about, well, here's a Pop-Tart. Just go play, you know. Now it's college application. And her saying stuff, and maybe she knows more than me. Maybe she's right. I mean, maybe she's right about 𝗂𝘁 Kardashian, whatever she says. And she is, probably. And how do you deal with that now?
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's all about social media, and it's all about, you see it on the news all the time about people who go to college who can't get jobs. Yet 𝗂𝘁 Kardashian is a billionaire now? So she's right. And you got to deal with that. And there's humor to saying football's the important thing of college, and that's a pie being thrown on your face, where you need to go, huh? That doesn't, I thought it was about learning like school. And you got to figure out how you deal with that. And then to top all of this off, because we are dealing with sitcoms, it's the hardest style, don't forget, sometimes the reactions become punchlines. Which means when you say the football and she reacts to that, you need to react to her reaction. Like, what did I just say? No, I mean, it's the education. You don't say that, but the behavior needs to be, I didn't say that. Because I want my daughter to be in school. You understand?
Yeah.
And there can be other moments in here where it's going to bounce back and forth. And have more fun with not just, okay, setup, pause, punchline, reaction. The more advanced trick is, when do the reactions become the punchlines? It happens all the time. I use this as an example because it's such a great one. It's the show that's been on TV longer than any is The Simpsons. Okay? And you watch that show and you'll see how that happens all the time. How they just bounce back and forth. Nobody's talking. Reaction becomes punchline. Then there's a reaction to the reaction. And it's like watching tennis. Frequently, even in The Simpsons, their eyes just go back and forth. You know? And Marge is like, and then somebody else is like, and then another person goes, and another person goes, and they do it too long. That ends up becoming sort of par for the course of those kinds of jokes. It doesn't have to necessarily be just in the dialogue. Make sense?
Yeah.